Hello everyone, it's Gareth here again. I'm going to do another one of these ramble videos because, yeah, why not? Again, I'm going to sit and paint while I do it because that's what I do. An update on last week. I actually finished the Tyranids I was working on. The Flying Hive Tyrant and all the little gaunts that were done. There's pictures of them up on my Instagram page if you want to look, which is the same user tag as my YouTube page. So BigFriendlyWarGamer. So this week I've just basically, this is the first time I've got to paint this week because things have been a bit hectic with work and stuff, and I'll get to that in a minute. So basically I'm going to try and get as much of these two guys finished. I've got these two Blood Angel Intercester Marines. They're like mainline battle troops. And these guys, their armour is base coated, shaded and part highlighted. With this particular one I've got to go over his shoulder pads. This is the sergeant and he has different coloured shoulder pads. So, but this guy I missed a bit when I was painting, so I've got to go over his shoulder pads again, and then I'm going to start highlighting them. But yeah, basically with the Tyranids that I painted last week, or this week, it was last week, it was the weekend, it brought me up to 5 models short for my target for the year, with a week and a half left to go. So I'm not doing bad. I have put some effort into my commission stuff again as well. So I'll show you this guy. But at the moment he's mostly just base coated. His skull and the armor is done. The axe here is started, and his cloak I've base coated. He's got a fair way to go yet, and this is his chariot thing he goes on. He goes a bit like that. So he goes on a boat, and he has two giant wolves pulling it, and the wolves are finished. The wolves are done. They were done a couple of weeks ago. So I'm hopefully going to sit here for an hour and talk again. Things keep getting in the way every time. I tried to do this yesterday, and I didn't have the time. Things keep popping up, and I'm going to talk about that a bit as well. But yeah, but first I'm going to, excuse me, I've got a, right, okay. I'm going to talk about my week. Basically, work's dominated my week, and it's been shit. Excuse my language, but it has. Things are happening at work and everyone's unhappy. I'm unhappy as well, and I'm being forced to do way more than I'm paid for, and it's really getting to me. I'm pretty sure that come the new year, I am sure I'm going to be applying for new jobs, because this can't carry on. I mean, I know this continuously goes back to me about being about work, but it's I would say at the moment that work is the main problem I'm dealing with. It's the main cause of what I'm going through. And yeah, we all have to work and whatever, and it's life's a bitch and all that, but it shouldn't be this hard, you know. Like, you should go to a job, do your job, that's it, done. And mine at the moment, it's not that simple. It's been made so hard by everyone, and again, I know I'm moaning, but I can't help it. It's just work. But I've made a decision to apply for other things, and I need to get out of the actual jobs that I do. The warehousing I can't do anymore, because I know I'm not an old man, but I don't want to be an old man and still doing that job, because especially for that company, they will abuse their staff until they're at breaking point. They don't care. They really don't give a shit. So, yep, I'm looking for a new job. So if anyone's got a job for me, then I know what I'm actually applying for as well, and I'm not going to say it out loud because I don't want to jinx it. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if what happens. But I need to get out of there. So my reflecting on the week has mainly revolved around work, because at the moment it's in such a bad situation that it's kind of clouding over everything else, and I don't know what to do about it. Well, I do know what to do about it because I'm going to do something about it. On the upside, because you got to look at positives, I suppose. I did get some models painted at the weekend. I did my walk and I played my guitar. I'm trying to teach myself to play guitar, so I'm trying to do an hour on a Saturday, every Saturday, and it's working. I'm getting better. It's ripping my thumb to pieces, but it's worth it. And yeah, I'm gradually getting there. And I'm still walking as well, although this past week, like, it was the first time that I really didn't want to go. Like, I was suffering with cramp in my leg because of work. I'm on my feet a lot. But I went anyway. I just did the bare minimum I needed to do, but I did it. And I got home, I jumped in the shower, I did all that kind of stuff, did my weights. The weights are getting a bit hard as well. And I fell asleep for 4 or 5 hours, basically. I was so tired after I'd done all that. I know, like, learning guitar's not strenuous, but the walk really is. So yeah, I just kind of passed out on my bed. And that's thrown my sleep pattern off a little bit as well. I mean, with the counselling sessions I was doing, they were saying, like, at the end that only go to sleep when you need to go to sleep, right? And I needed to go to sleep Saturday. I was so tired. But that had a knock-on effect because I then woke up at like midnight and couldn't get back to sleep till 5 in the morning. And then that screwed my Sunday up. So it's not always good advice sometimes. Sometimes you have to bend the rules to your own preference, I think. But yeah, like I said, upside. I got some models done. I keep repeating myself, but there you go. I finally got my provisional driving license through the post. So I'll be terrorising roads near you very soon. So yeah, so that's a good point. I'm going around on this guy and I'm edge highlighting him. Edge highlighting is basically you use the edge of your brush or the tip of your brush and you just guide around the edges, but you don't do, because this is the second edge highlight. I don't do it on every edge. It's just to pick out like the really high points of the armor and stuff. So yeah, that was my week basically, and it hasn't been a very good week. There have been some good points, but generally speaking, it's not been a good week. And I'm recording this on the 20th of December, so Christmas is right around the corner, and I'm not looking forward to Christmas whatsoever. Like, yeah, I get to see some of my family and whatever, but I'm being made to work Boxing Day, and there's no way I can get out of it because people are off left, right and centre. So it's only going to leave two or three of us there, if one guy does overtime, which I don't think he's going to do. And it's annoyed me a little bit. I knew I'd have to work Boxing Day, but I didn't think it would be this short staff come Boxing Day. So basically, I'm not planning on doing much. I'm going to sit there and hopefully paint, because I'm a warehouse bot. I don't get paid to run the place, especially not on a Boxing Day. No way. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to Christmas. New Year, I am looking forward to, because I get the house to myself. And I know that sounds nasty on my parents and whatever, but like, I'm trying to keep a schedule, trying to stick to, if I plan something, I do it at this time, and I'm trying to stick to that. And like, there's a saying in like warfare and whatever that I've heard loads of times, that no plan survives contact with the enemy, and that's been very much my motto at the moment, because everything is so up in the air, and there's no set timetable. I can't stick to anything, and it's frustrating me a little bit. Well, it's frustrating me a lot. And I know I said that I wouldn't bite my tongue so much, but I'm finding I'm having to bite my tongue quite a lot. So yeah, that's been my week. It's not been great, but I'm hoping things will change come New Year. Well, I'm going to make them change come New Year, because I'm not putting up with this at work anymore. But anyway, so yeah, that was me looking at my week. So looking forward, I've got 5 more models to paint for my target for the year. Every year, I think I might have said this in a previous video, I set myself targets for how many models I want to paint. And this is purely because I've been doing this hobby for so long, and like, my collection is stupidly huge, and very little of it is actually painted. So I set myself 2 targets. One was to stop buying models till the new year, and I'm doing really well with that. I think it was June that the new starter set for 40k came out. That was the last models I bought. And it sounds weird, but it's quite hard keeping yourself away from buying your hobby stuff. So yeah, that was my first, well, that was my second goal. My first one was to paint 200 models for the year. And with the Tyranids that I painted, and I painted some Imperial Fist Space Marines, which are these guys but yellow. Yellow is quite a hard colour to paint. That put me up to 90, I think 95 or 195 or 194. Either way, I've got 5 or 6 left to paint for the year. And these 2 guys should be quite straightforward. They should be quite easy to get finished. And then it's just a case of going back and looking at what I started this year and trying to get it finished. Because I think that's got to be my thing for next year, is if I start something, I should finish it. Because like, my hobby butterfly thing comes into it. I can't sit down and paint the same thing over and over and over and over again. I have to chop and change between projects, and it's something that I'm going to have to work on, because it's going to help me in the future, I think. And yeah, so I'm going to make that a new, well, I'm not going to make it a New Year's resolution, because I never stick to them, but it's going to be one of my hobby aims for the year, is to complete projects and not chop and change. Well, when I say not chop and change, I mean, if I start a batch of models, I'm going to get them completed before I move on. So that'll probably mean I start smaller batches, like these guys here. They're a squad of 5, but I've only got 2 of them started so far. So like, I'm just complete these 2, and the batch that I started is done. The Imperial Fists I started in the summer, and I finished 3 of them. There's one more I could probably finish, but he was like, I had to put so much ink onto his base that it was taking forever to dry, and I was like, do you know what, put him away. Which I should have left him out now, but oh well. So yeah, so that's probably my second target for the year. I'm gonna set myself the target of 200 models again, because that seems to be a number that I'm reaching, and it's not been an easy thing. Like, I go through periods where I don't want to paint, and that's something else I've got to try and work through as well, because it's been work affects my home life quite a lot because of how tired I am, and like, it's sitting here and painting, it's not a chore. It's quite an easy thing to do, but it's not as easy as just laying on your bed and watching a film. So yeah, I'm gonna try and get 200 painted again next year. So that will put me, that'll mean I've painted, if I get my 200 for this year, when I get my 200 done for this year, that'll put me on 600 for the last 3 years, 600 models. And I know some people like smash that in 1 year, but for me, 200 models in a year is pretty good. So yeah, I'm sticking to that. And I think I said last week, I've set up a Facebook group to help the local community and push everyone to try and get their armies painted, because like, as much as we all like playing the games, the game is much nicer with fully painted stuff. And I've said before, I'll play anyone. I don't care if their army's painted or just in grey or whatever, undercoated. I don't care, I'll play anyone, but it's a nicer game when everything's painted. And this is part of the reason why I'm limiting myself to what I actually field in a game. So for my Blood Angels, for example, like, my army's huge, like stupidly big. There's no need for it. It shouldn't be that big. There's no need for it to be that big. But it is. And most of it never sees daylight purely because it's not painted. So it never gets used in games. So the way I figure is I will have more options if I get more of it painted. So I'm going to try and get more Blood Angels painted next year. I keep coming up with these things, you know, like, I want not set myself really big targets. I mean, basically the formation that these Space Marines come in, when they're in this, they're split into chapters. And my chapter are Blood Angels. They're the red guys. But the Blood Angels are split into companies as well. So there's 100 Space Marines in a company, and I own 2 full companies of these Marines. Most of them aren't painted, but about, I would say over 25% are painted now. And I want to push it up to 50%, so that means I'll have one company fully painted. And then I've got the vehicles as well, because they have tanks and they have dreadnoughts and they have like land speeders and all that kind of stuff. And I want to get some of them done as well, because I've been putting them off for way too long. Like some of these models I've had for 10 years or more, and like they're just sitting there. They're just sitting there doing nothing. They come out for when I play really big games, which hasn't been often of late, because I'm the guy at the club who kind of organises the really big games, and I haven't run one for a couple of years now because of life getting in the way, as it does. You may hear me coughing and clearing my throat again. I'm still like not 100%, but I'm so yeah. So the hobby is coming on well, and like I said before, I set myself targets for my counselling sessions, my Boost Your Mood group it was called. My targets were to go out with friends 3 times before Christmas, to get my commission painting finished, and to have 5 driving lessons before I turn 37. Well, I've got my provisional licence now, so I can start having driving lessons. The commission painting, I think I should be finished by the new year. And I've been out with friends twice now. So I've got to do one more time, which is going to be difficult to fit it in somewhere, but I'm sure I can sort something out. So yeah, it's coming on okay. Just got to get that last bit done, that last hurdle, out with friends. So yeah, it was good going out Monday night. Different environment to what I'm used to, and like it's around the same people that I'm around most of the time, but not when I say most of the time with my wargaming friends. It was the same people, but it was a totally different environment. It was like we went out for a meal. It was really nice. Expensive, but it was nice. Expensive, it doesn't really bother me. Didn't get drunk because I don't do getting drunk. So yeah, it was cool. It was a very good night. And if any of you guys watch this, which you probably won't, but thank you for the night out. I really needed it. It helped me a lot. Set me up for looking at this week in a more objective way, because I could have quite easily lost it at work last night, but I didn't. Another guy did instead. So, and like I can understand, like we were all put under like too much pressure. It wasn't fair, but what can you do? What can you do when you work for a company that doesn't seem to give a crap? And when I say that, and I'm not looking for justification from the company, but when you've got a managing director who overhears a conversation about how we're pushed for staff, we're short of staff, and he asks who's moaning, and like gets told by a supervisor, "Oh, the warehouse because we're short staff and blah 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 and whatever," right? And he just turned around and said, "Yeah, we know. Yeah, we know." It sounded like, "Yeah, we know, but you're still putting money in our pockets, so why do we care?" That's what it very much felt like. So I'm done with that company. I'm done. I know none of my work friends will see this because none of them are in contact with me on social media or anything. So, but it's and the thing is, like, around the airport, there's this feeling that companies treat their staff really badly, and it is true. I mean, but it's not all companies. Like, I know I've got a really limited view of it purely because I work for one company. I don't work for multiples and whatever. But, like, from what I hear from other people, they're just as bad. Like, so this is why I've got to get out of this industry. I've got to do something else. And what I'm looking at is something else. Something totally different. It's so far away from what I'm doing now that it'll be a totally new career path, and it could be a career rather than just a job. I'm hoping it's going to be a career rather than just a job, because like I said, I'm 37 in March, and I'm sick of working for people who don't appreciate me, and I don't expect a pat on the back every time I do something right or anything like that, but just a bit of recognition that you're there from time to time would be nice, instead of getting constantly overlooked and talked down about by everyone. So yeah, but see, everything revolves around work. It keeps going back to it, and I can't get away from it. So this is why I've got to get away from it, and I really have to do it, because it's driving me mad. Like, you got people there who are quite ill people. They're not in any way, shape or form fit to be doing warehouse work, and yet they continuously let them do it, and they work excessive hours as well, like 14 nights in a row, 12-hour shifts. That's so wrong. And they have these silly posters up everywhere, how we value staff and we value people, and like, no, you don't. I've got to stop talking about work because I'm going into one. Right, so yeah, back on my hobby, because like it's like work's distracting me from what I'm doing. Basically, so these two guys, they're part of a bigger squad, and they're actually a 10-man squad, because that's when I played them a couple of weeks ago. That's how they came out, 10-man squad. They did terribly, but that's what this new model syndrome. So yeah, I've got 2 of these on the go. It will mean that once these are done, I'll have another 3 more models to do to hit my target. So then it's just a case of going through and finding what ones I want to finish that I've started this year. Shouldn't be such a hard thing to do. Find 3 models. So I've still got to finish the guy on the chariot. I don't think that'll be a problem either. Even if I can get these 3 finished before next weekend, because the weekend coming up is Christmas, and the weekend after that is New Year. So if I can get it so the New Year weekend I've hit my target. So 3 after this. If I can do that, then I can spend all New Year's Eve, because, like I said, I'm going to be here by myself. I'm going to have some loud music playing most of the night, and I'm going to be painting. So I'm going to try and get the guy on the chariot finished on New Year's Eve, and it means that I can spend time on him and not try and rush it. And like, I haven't been rushing it anyway, because it's a commission job. And with the commissions, like with this guy, I know it seems like I'm taking ages painting him, but like I'm really not. For me, this is fairly quick. This the edge highlighting takes forever because these are painted a different way to my other guys, because these are newer ones. And yeah, so for him, I can spend a bit more time on him. Like I could quite easily be painting for 8 hours on New Year's Eve, because I've got a nice quiet house, and yeah, so that'd be quite nice. No, I don't mean this in a nasty way to my parents or anything, but it's nice having the house to myself sometimes. I've got to remember to put, because you can't see anything if I paint up on my face. So yeah, so I'm actually looking forward to New Year. Like, I know people look forward to going out and whatever, but I'm quite happy to be in. I'm out all the time. Like, I work 4 days a week, and I'm out generally every other day as well. So I don't have days in, really. But it'll be nice to have New Year's Eve in by myself. And it sounds a bit sad, I know, but it's really not. Sometimes we all need a bit of time to ourselves. So yeah. So basically with these guys, hey you guys, I'm gonna give them a glaze afterwards, which is basically it's a watered down ink, and it just basically it pulls the colours together. And you'll see this guy, his highlight is quite stark. You see, it's not going to focus. I can't wait till I get my new camera. You see the highlighting on it is quite stark. But anyway, the glaze will take that back a bit and tone it down. And basically a glaze will just be, I'll cover the model in it. So it will give it a bit of a shiny look to his armour, which is what I like. And it will tone down the orange. And those backpacks coming off. But yeah, these are the guys that I bought back in June when the new starter set came out. They came with that, and I traded a friend of mine for. Basically, when you get a starter set, you get the good guys and the bad guys. And like, I don't collect the army that the bad guys are for, so I traded them for another set of good guys. So I got loads of these, like 20 of these guys, 5 of the Hellblasters. They're the big, they carry the heavier weapons, plasma incinerators they're called. I've got 6 of the Interceptor Marines. They're like jump infantry. They're like specialist assault troops, like with guns, which is weird for me, assault guys with guns. And I've got like 2 of each of the characters, like, and the lieutenants I'm gonna modify a little bit, because I don't want the same looking models for every army. And I think I'm going to try and modify the captain a little bit, so I might change he's got a sword, I might change his sword for a big axe or something. But they're not all going to be painted red for my Blood Angels. Some of them are going to be either painted a dark blue, which is the chaps are calling Crimson Fists, or they're going to be painted the yellow like my Imperial Fists. I don't know yet. That's a long way off. I'll get to them eventually, maybe, definitely. But yeah, so yeah, I'm doing this video now because any time now, probably when I'm going to be, well, I'm over halfway the video, I'm probably going to have my mum come back with my Monan. Monan's like in her late 80s, I think she is. She's coming up to 90. And she's suffering with dementia. Like, and it's not like really bad. But it's very noticeable. She forgets names all the time. She forgets simple things, and like she bought the same Christmas present for one person 3 times and stuff like that. And my mum's kind of her unofficial carer. That's them two done. So edge highlighting done. And that's putting a strain on her, but then it's putting a strain on us as well, because yeah, it does. So yeah, basically that's the 2 intercestors highlighted. So I'm going to let them dry for a little bit before I put the glaze on them. So basically how I've painted those 2 guys, can you see them? There. That guy and that guy. How I've painted them is they were spray painted with Mephiston red. They were then shaded with Agrax Earthshade. Any of you that follow these Games Workshop paints will know this. And then I re-established the Mephiston red. I highlighted with Evil Sun Scarlet, and then I edge highlighted again with Fire Dragon Blight. So they're looking pretty good so far. The edge highlighting's a bit more stark than I would like, but like I said, I'll tone that down with a glaze. Now I'm going to go back and do a bit more work on this guy again, because I'm not happy with that axe. Really not happy with how that axe has come out. So what we're going to do, use a bit of corn red and just bring that axe back to the corn red rather than the glaze, the shade that I used on it, because I used Caribou Crimson on it. And the problem is with this red is I've watered it down a little bit too much, so it's really thin. So I have to do like layers and layers on it on every model. So I think it's getting close to being empty. So it might be time to throw it out and get a new one. But basically what I'm going to do with this, I'm using my 0 Winsor Newton brush. I've got some Games Workshop brushes, but I use Winsor and Newton. I find they're better for me. And basically his axe, which you're never going to focus on because it's an iPad camera. But yeah, or whatever. I'm just going to re-establish some of the red on it, because it's driving me mad how blotchy it is. And like I said, this isn't mine. This isn't one of my models. So when I do commissions, they've got to be painted to a decent standard. And how this axe turned out wasn't a decent standard. So I wouldn't say it's starting again with it, because I'm leaving the recess shade in there. But I'm going to make it look better. And it is a bit delicate work, because I don't want to hit all the shaded parts. And this axe has got a name, Axe Morkali or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, it's just re-establishing the red. So I was thinking about doing, like, if any of my wargaming friends actually see this, on New Year's Eve, doing a live feed sit and paint, like I've seen some people do. It's Google Hangout, I think it is, and I've no clue how to do that, none at all. I assume it's just going to be me sitting in front of a camera, and other people can chime in if they feel like it. It's like, I don't want to do Facebook Live because I'll get distracted by the comments then, because it's comments and not people talking. But yeah, I like social painting. I'm not able to get up to Games Workshop at the moment because I'm too busy. So I miss the social painting side of the hobby. So if anyone is interested, it's just basically going to be sitting chatting about rubbish like I do on this every week, while we paint. And it doesn't need to be mega long. It might be nice just to sit and talk crap, because generally when we're in Games Workshop we either talk about the hobby or we talk about rubbish. It's what you do when you're around friends, you know. So yeah, it might be a nice idea. But like I said, either way, I'm quite happy to just sit and paint on New Year's Eve. Probably have a bit of Auto Bridge on, or Metallica. I'm actually wearing my Metallica t-shirt now, as you may have seen a little bit. Yeah, I've had people say before, but don't you get paint on your t-shirt and stuff like that? I'm like, nope, this is too delicate paint for that. And you watch, I'm going to spill paint on myself or something now. But yeah, tiny amount of paint I've got on my palette there, and the little amount of paint that I have on the brush, like, it's not going to go anywhere. Short of me dropping my brush or throwing it across the room or something, it's not going to get on anything. But it has done before. I've spilt paint pots before, but that was before I started using a palette, because I used to have the paint pot open all the time I was painting, and that does two bad things. Firstly, it dries your paint up. There's no way to dry paint up more than just have an open pot for half an hour or 45 minutes or whatever while you're painting a colour. And secondly, it risks spilling it. Like, this is the pot that I've opened to get the paint out. It's shut. I can throw it around the room and it's not going to spill. I'm going to throw it around the room though, because then I'll have to find it. But yeah, I mean, this is one of the things that when you watch painting videos online, excuse me, they never say that to you. They never say, look, put some paint on the palette and close your pot. And like, I've seen so many people like sitting and painting, wide open paint pot. And I've said to them, look, just grab a palette. They're not expensive. I think this one was like £3, and I bought it like 15 years ago, because all my stuff's old. Get yourself a palette. It doesn't have to be a specific Games Workshop one, although mine is. Put the little bit of paint on there that you think you're going to need, and close your pot, and your paints will last so much longer. Like my paints, right? Like I've said, they're starting to thin a bit now because I water them down a lot and whatever. But some of these paints are 5, 6, 7 years old, and some of them are even longer than that. I mean, I'll show you a paint pot in a minute once I've cleaned my palette, which I've had for probably 20 years, and it's still going strong. I use it to paint my Necrons, which you haven't seen on any of these videos as yet, because I haven't been painting them. But yeah, it's a turquoise colour, and it's not any of the past like 6 paint ranges. This is my shelf of paints that I don't see. This Hawk turquoise. It's really old paint, and you can't read it at all because for some reason my my camera is backwards, but it's still going strong and I'll still use it. And something's fallen onto my feet, but that's okay. So yeah, you look after your paints and they look after you. There's a quote from Chris at Mini Wargaming. He keeps saying that, and it's true. It is very true. The only ones I don't do it to, and I'm going to break my own rule, is the glazes. The glazes in the shades. And even then, sometimes I do. This one I actually am going to put it on a palette because do I want to? Yeah, I've got to put a bit of medium with it to thin it down a bit, because this will leave it quite stark. But I want the medium to help it a little bit. And I've had people ask me what medium's for as well. And people don't know what medium's for. And like when you use water to thin down paints, medium's so much better. Like it keeps your consistency of your paint rather than break up the surface of it. And that sounds weird because it's paint and stuff, but if you ever use medium, you will understand. So you see this little pool that I've got here now? That's my glaze. I need a little bit more. I think that'll do. So I'm going to glaze these two Intercessor Marines. And basically it's just going to re-establish the red. Bring it out a bit more. And you'll see once it's dried, closing the pot, because I'll knock it over otherwise. And like at some point, probably January the 1st, because I'm off New Year, I'm not working New Year's Day, I need to clean my brushes. I haven't done it for quite a while, and it's really bad practice to not clean your brushes. So yeah, once they've done their task for the year, I give them a good clean. And you always clean your brushes, because they are what help you do your hobby. Like, I know it's the painter that paints, but the brushes help a lot as well. So yeah, so basically what I do when I clean my brushes, I've got this, it's called brush soap. It's called Master's Brush Cleaner. And you just basically, it's like a shampoo for your brushes. It's really quite easy to do. Doesn't take very long. Takes a little bit longer if you leave it as long as I do to actually clean them. Like, I think the last time I cleaned my brushes was about 2 months ago. But it's mainly because I've been wanting to sit and paint when I've had the time to. So because I use so many brushes, I mean, you can see the 10. No, you can't see the 10, but you can see these here. And I've got the same on this side, and I've got my brush that I use to get the paint out of the pot, and I've got 2 more brushes here. So I use 13 brushes, and like, although it is quick cleaning the brush, it still takes you time when you've got to clean 13 of them. And that's been time when I could be sitting painting instead. So I'd rather be sitting and painting. I need to take time out and actually clean them. But like I said, once my aim for the year is done, I can do that and not be worried that I should be painting instead. But so yeah, so I'm gonna clean them. New Year's Day, I'm gonna spend an hour or 2 just cleaning brushes. Fun. But I was tempted to buy myself some new brushes as well, because these Masters ones, not Masters, Winsor Newton, they're good, but I'm just wondering if there's anything better around, because I don't know, there's always a better brush. Like, there's so many brands of brushes now that I'm pretty sure there's a better one than Winsor Newton around, because Winsor Newton are really expensive as well. But like, for me, like, I spend a lot of time doing this hobby, so I want to use the best tools that I can for it. So I do. So this sergeant is nearly done with his glaze, and you'll see, like, not straight away, but once it's dried a bit, you'll see it's toned down the orange highlights. So he's done. And now onto his mate. I realised I'm far away from the camera again. This is quite difficult. I mean, I've painted for 25 years, and I've always painted here with my back straight and with the model close to my face, because it's like you want to see the details and stuff. So painting in front of a camera is a bit weird, because I'm painting with my hands on a desk, which I don't normally do. People say I should, but I prefer to get my own balance, because when you're resting on a desk and there's other people using the same desk, you end up with people just jogging jogging the desk. So I'd rather balance on my own, because I do this. I lock my fingers, and that provides me balance. It's not too much necessary when you're doing something like this, because you don't need balance. You're just covering the whole model in a colour. But yeah, it's difficult retraining yourself to work with a camera. And I'm hoping, well, I am going to buy a new camera. Probably once Christmas is out of the way. So you may get one or two more of these with my iPad. Like, I don't want to, because it's awkward to set up. It's the camera quality is not particularly great. Don't get me wrong, the camera is okay, but for what I need it for doing this, it's not great. Like I was trying to give you close-ups so you could focus on what I was doing with the model, and like it just will not focus at all. So hopefully with the new camera, because I've got my eye on one or two, the new camera will sort that out, and I'll be able to give you close-ups of the models that I'm doing and stuff like that. But yeah, that guy is done as well. Now with a glaze, it's a very thin paint. It's like an ink, and it does take a little while to dry, especially when you've used it in that amount. So I've got another 8 minutes or so, so I'm gonna do. This is the base for one of the other guys. It's for this guy on his chariot. He can come on a base or he can come on the chariot. Excuse me, coughing again. So I'm going to work on this base a little bit. There's not much left to do on it. I've got to texture paint it and dry brush it and whatever. But basically, it's just trying to finish the armor panel there. In fact, I'm actually not going to do that. I'm going to, let's put a shade on this guy. So basically, I actually need some more of this. His cloak and the his cloak is basically, it's got the underlay of the fur. And I'm gonna give his whole cloak a shade of Agrax shade, because it needs some shading. But again, I'm going to use a bit of medium to make it flow a little bit better. So one medium, and then some Agrax. I think that will do. Shockwave pots. Oh, come on. So again, this is going to be like the glaze, but this is a shade. This is going to be an all over thing as well. But the shade works differently. A glaze will just tint the colour of the colour on top, So like the oranges will appear less stark and whatever. With a shade, it falls into the recesses of the detail, and it provides like a shading. It's a shade, that's what it does. Which I probably won't have time to actually show you this when it's dry. But so basically I just put all over. And it's actually, I've actually missed some bits on this, so I'll have to give it another coat, I think. He's got some grey on the fur. So I undercoated these and base coated them at the same time, so they're base coated grey. Because Games Workshop do a range of spray paints, and the grey is the colour I needed for his base coat, so why not just undercoat him that colour, which I did. So I probably should have done another layer on his fur before I actually shaded it, but because it's a commission model, I'm going to shade this a couple of times. So basically I'm shading it now, and then I'll go back and I'll dry brush probably the fur, and then I'll shade it again. Because this is a character model, like he's the main character of the chapter. The chapter of these are Space Wolves. Basically they're like futuristic Vikings, maybe, if that's the best way to describe it. But they ride giant wolves into battle. And they have giant wolves pulling their chariots and stuff like that. And this guy, he's the chapter master. He's basically the big daddy of the army. So he's got to look a little bit special. And he's not painted in normal colours. He's painted like with the games that we play. There's two different eras. One of them's called 30k, and the other one's called one of them's called 40k. Sorry. And the other one's called the Horus Heresy. And it's basically, it's a big civil war that happened 10,000 years before 40k. So it's 30k. And this is the Space Wolf colours for then. But this is a 40k model. He's not actually available in 30k. Or Horus Heresy. So, but this was what my customer asked for. A friend of mine, he asked for this particular model in the older colours, and I've done a few models for him now. Well, I've done quite a few, and a lot of them were in 30k colours, and I quite like it. I like how the colour comes out. Unfortunately, with this guy, you can't really see a lot of the detail in his armour, his colour and whatever, because he's so covered in other details. But it's not done too bad. So hopefully this Blood Angel Sergeant will be shaded enough now, or will be dry enough now. I can show you the effect that the glaze has. And I think we'll be calling it about that then. About there. This we're coming up to the hour, so if you can, no, you can't see it all, it won't focus whatsoever, but basically the orange is dulled down. No, it's just not going to do it. Like I said, rubbish camera. But yeah, it's dulled down to a point I'm happy with. The space ring, the other space ring, is coming along as well. It's still drying. So, but yeah, so that's gonna be my ramble for the week. I'm gonna try and do one on Boxing Day, but again, I don't know if I'll be able to get a chance to, because things may take over. It's Christmas and things get in the way. But I'm gonna keep doing these because it helps me. Yeah, so thank you if you did watch this and you sat through the hour of me rambling. I'm going to hopefully get some more painting done today, and these two guys should be off my painting desk by next week. But if you're interested in what I'm painting, then my Instagram page is BigFriendlyWarGamer, as well as my YouTube channel. So yeah, give me a follow on there, and I'll see you in the next one, which will probably be next week. So goodbye.